guys, how's it going? This is Davis here, back with the M3 Podcast, and we're back with my buddy here, Brandon.
Yes.
Going back to some of the co-hosts again, just like last week was with Dallas. Kind of going back to this 2 week thing instead of every week. It was getting, like I said before, getting a little much, but still always fun. So we talk about movies, games, TV shows, anime, any of that kind of fun stuff. If you like that type of stuff, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel below and rate 5 stars on any available listening platforms. This week we're kind of getting into the new Ratchet and Clank game that's coming out. So there's a new one that came out that's coming out, I guess, for PS5. We just watched the trailer for that, so we're going to discuss it and then kind of get into like nostalgic games and like games in general a little bit. That this is going to be more of a video game oriented episode compared to normally where it's movies orientated. But then another thing I kind of want to throw into there, if we get time to talk about it, if the flow goes, we might get into the Supernatural prequel as well, because the Supernatural show ended last year. So, and now they're getting into a prequel, and I don't know, I'm kind of interested about it, so I think it would be pretty fun. But what's going on, Brandon?
Yeah, man. It's been a while. It's like I actually managed to get my hands on a PS5. Speaking of,
oh my God,
yeah.
really? How much did that cost you?
It was pretty expensive because I got an extra controller as well. Don't mind me while I'm walking in my backyard, just checking on my cats out here. But yeah, they've been sold out like everywhere forever, right? Even though they came out I think in November or something last year.
Mm-hmm.
But my friend managed to like send a message in a group chat, and he was like, "Hey, Southside Best Buy just got some new in stock." And I'm like, "Crap! I'm living on the north side. Should I just like drive? This is on a Friday, so should I just like take my lunch break to drive down and grab it?" But my other buddy in the same group chat was like, "Oh, I'm actually like there right now. Do you want me to pick it up for you?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!"
Here, let me just send you the money. Fucking get into it right away.
Yeah, exactly. And then he was nice enough to like deliver it to me all the way on the north side, like that same day. So yeah, I got some good gaming in, but holy, was that expensive.
What?
It was like, I got the disc edition because with that one you can get the digital only, which has no disc drive, but then you can't play any like physical copy games.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of like having the occasional physical game, so I got the disc edition with an additional controller, and the whole thing was like about $750. So yeah, that was.
What games did you get with it?
I got the new Spider-Man Miles Morales. It was so much fun.
Oh my God,
it was really good. Yeah, it was really, really good. And then I had a PS4 beforehand, so I was able to just like download all the same games that I had before. And then I noticed like the PS5 like exclusive titles, like brand new games, they're not $80 anymore. They're like $90 now.
Oh my God, because it's PS5.
Yeah. So I saw the new Ratchet and Clank Drift Apart listed on there for $90, and I'm just like, oh, I like just dropped $750. I think I should wait a while. At least Spider-Man was on sale. Yeah, so that's pretty much like the extent of what I played. The main reason why I wanted to get it was for this bonus additional Final Fantasy VII Remake content that was coming out for the PS5 only. So I did get that, but it wasn't a full game. It was like $28 or something.
Just expansion type thing, or?
Yeah, kind of like an expansion. It's like a bonus, like 2 chapters, because like in the regular Final Fantasy VII Remake, you have like your main party is Cloud, of course, and then like Tifa, Barrett, and Aerith, and Red 13 later. But this one just focuses not on like those same characters. It's like Yuffie and an extra character who wasn't in the original. So yeah, you're like playing the same game. It's like a side story that kind of like happens during a certain part of the main story, but you're just playing as different characters.
Yeah.
So like, that's the main reason why I wanted the PS5, and I got to play that. But I took a week off work to play it, but I was done in like a weekend, so I was kind of just like twiddling my thumbs for the rest of the week.
Oh yeah. Wow. I've never played any Final Fantasy games, so Cloud is the only name I recognize from that list of people. So
yeah,
and that's just because he's the iconic, like, known character.
Yeah, exactly.
What like all I know from it, I've only seen from like the like original style is where you like have your boss or whatever, and you have your characters, and you hit like a certain attack, and you just, or is it like more of an RPG?
Yeah, the original was like that, where it was kind of turn-based, but you had like this additional layer to it called like the ATB system. I think Final Fantasy VII was the first one to introduce it, and instead of just like taking turn after turn, you have like this gauge that fills up over time. So like you get your turn when your gauge fills up, and the gauge can like fill up fast or fill up slowly depending on like how fast you are and this and that kind of thing. So
Different
yeah,
characters
it's
have
ultimately
different
still turn
range.
based. Exactly, that was the original, but in the new one, they totally remade it so that it's more of like an action RPG style now.
Okay.
So there's not really like turns per se. Like you can move around and attack all the time, and the only thing that you have to wait to do is like specials or like magic that still kind of uses that like ATB system. So yeah,
When you
can
build
attack-
up like your mana and stuff or whatever.
yeah. Like when you hit or get hit, you get like some more of your gauge filled up, so you can use some magic and things like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they totally changed it, and it was like it's such a good game. Like I it came out in 2020, and I thought it would like win more awards that year, but it got beat out. I think The Last of Us 2 like got Game of the Year, but Final Fantasy VII Remake was also like nominated. Yeah, so I think it won quite a few other awards last year too. But yeah, it was a really good game.
Nice. Speaking of Last of Us, is it Last of Us? Yeah. They're filming the Last of Us movie in.
Oh, really?
Like I don't remember the name of the town, but it's in like Calgary area, and
Oh, no way.
yeah, I was going to. I don't know if I even still can, but I was going to like audition, I guess, as like a background character because they were looking for people, and I just,
Oh, cool.
and I saw the notification is on like on like Facebook. My sister sent it to me as well and everything, and I was like, oh, that'd be sweet and everything, but. I just didn't end up filling it out. I don't know why, but I that would have been, even though I never played any of the games, I just think it would have been still just cool, just in general.
Yeah, like I haven't played any of the games either, but I really should, because like they've like, had such high praise from like so many people, even so many years later, even the original one. Yeah, and like it's post-apocalyptic kind of zombie setting, so you pretty much just have to like do normal Alberta things to fit right in the background.
Oh yeah, that's what are you saying that we're a bunch of deadbeat zombies here in the Alberta, especially now with all
no.
this heat.
Yeah, maybe partially, yeah. But we all drive, well, not all of us, but there's a lot of trucks out here, a lot of yipping and yeehawing, so.
Well, Alberta is the Texas of Canada, so.
Yep.
So yeah, do you want to continue talking about games? Did you ever play Ratchet and Clank when you were younger, like the PS2 ones?
Yeah, the PS2 ones. Yeah, I did. I think I played the first three. Was like the first Ratchet and Clank, Going Commando and Up Your Arsenal.
Yeah.
I played those first three ones.
Yeah, I would not have been able to. I'm glad you said it because I would not. I played all of them as well. I would not have been able to remember the names though.
I just remember their names were like kind of very like innuendo-y. So yeah, I remember the names.
Yeah,
but those are the only three that I've played.
I played those
There's
ones,
so
and then I played one of them for there was a game for the PSP, and and then I also had just Clank. It was off series again for the PSP, and that was it wasn't as fun because it wasn't as like like the attacks and stuff like that. It was more of a strategy based kind of puzzle game ish. What I remember, because it's PSP style compared to, but which was fun. But like when watching this, it just got me back into like the feels of that Ratchet and Clank, because those were one of my favorite games, up there with my favorite games as a kid, and like I remember the hidden levels of trying to get the golden nut and everything, or bolt.
Yeah. I think like from watching the trailer, it totally like brings you back to those like early Ratchet and Clank days, because when you just like the third person shooting with like the big weapons and like the car wheels and stuff. Like it's totally Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. Did you ever end up using the Rhino in those games?
Of course.
Just shoot and just kill everyone. It's always the best. You unlock the Rhino and then go back to one of the very first like levels and just the really easy guys and just destroy them with one shot.
Yeah, they just get decimated. Do you remember what Rhino stood for? Because it was like, was it? I think it was RYNO.
Yeah, it was.
I think. Because I don't. It's so weird. Like I haven't played them since then, but I'm remembering like all these obscure things from the game. The Rhino stood for Ripia, a new one.
Right.
And I just remember there was like a shady like gun salesman selling you this thing, and he was like, "It's gonna rip you a new one."
That's hilarious. See, I remember then like getting. I think one thing I always did was getting like the vacuum suction gun, and I turned that into the golden version of it, and just like sucked up all the giant enemies. When you get the gold version, yeah, like that, yeah. Because I do remember. Then I think it was, what was the third one called again, sir?
Up Your Arsenal.
Up Your Arsenal, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they had the hoverboard race, like the mini game hoverboard like tournament and everything, and I would always go back to that and just try to beat my own records. That or like the grinding, like on the different levels and having to flip over and everything. Like that's such a like. Do you know if this game, it said PS5, but if it's coming on PS4 as well, I would probably spend the money to get it.
I don't know if it's going to be on PS4 because I think the whole thing with the new Ratchet and Clank game is like, it was kind of a launch title with the PS5. So it used a lot of like kind of gimmicks to use all the new hardware features and stuff. Like it's called, like in the trailer we saw that there's all these different dimensions that you kind of like go through, right?
Yeah.
I remember like listening to a tech demo or something of this game, and they were talking about how like you're able to go through the different levels like so easily without like loading screens or like any lag because of the hardware improvements. So I don't know if the PS4 can like handle it because they're not like optimizing it. I guess to work on older consoles is just like to use the new hardware kind of thing. Yeah.
See, I want to play this game, but not enough to go out and spend $800.
I know. Like you could just get like the digital only version, which I think is $150 cheaper still. Like mine was $750 because it was disc version plus an extra controller. So if you just got like single controller and digital version, it would be considerably cheaper.
That's still too pricey for me, considering right now my PS4 is 99% just streaming, like Netflix and Disney Plus and anime and everything. Yeah. I barely game. I'll occasionally jump on and play like COD or something. Maybe I'll play like a fighting game here or there, but there's enough like free versions of games and stuff. I'll wait another 10 years before the PS4 is obsolete before I go to a PS5. Yeah,
hard to justify the cost. Like even for me, I didn't actually get a PS4 until like 2018. Yeah.
What year did
so
it
I
come
waited
out
a long time to get the PS4.
Did it come out in what, 2016? 2015?
I want to say 2014, but I should probably like verify that. Hang on. I'm sorry while I just look because it's going to bug me now. PS4 release dates. Because there were a few different editions of the PS4 as well. The original came out November 15, 2013. So it's been out for a long time, yeah.
Wow, 2013. That's I graduated in 2011, so yeah, 2 years after I graduated.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but I didn't buy. I didn't buy a PS4 right away either because it was the same thing. It was just money wise, and at that time, obviously, as I just said, just graduated high school, so I didn't really have that much money. And then, like, I remember when I eventually bought it, I bought the Battlefield version, like Battlefield 4 or whatever, and I played like all 5 minutes of it just because that was the only one available at, I want to say EB Games at the time. Yeah, I think so.
I ended up getting the Star Wars Battlefront 2 edition from Walmart because that was like the only one available too.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Battlefront. Yeah, Star Wars. That's
Oh,
what I meant.
okay.
Wrong game.
Yeah. I was like, Battlefield 4 would be a cool addition, but like, I don't. I think Battlefield 4 might be kind of an older one too. Yeah, but the Star Wars Battlefronts, so I think those were kind of everywhere around the time that I bought it.
Probably because it got so much negativity when it first came out, so it was like, screw it, let's just get rid of them.
Yeah, because of EA. What did they say again? Do you remember that whole fiasco?
It had to do with with paying for more, like the same shit that EA always has to do. It's just it's pay to play. Like you spend $80 on a game, and then you have to spend another 80 to get the rest of it, or 20, I should say. But still, it's crazy.
I think there was like a specific thing that they were mad about with this game. Like I think to get I don't know if it was Darth Vader or some other like Sith character. Like if you didn't pay extra money, you had to play something like 5,000 hours to get the character or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, this just we just want players to be rewarded for their hard work." And then everyone was just kind of like memeing whatever quote that they said about that.
Oh yeah.
For like months. Yeah.
I remember seeing a meme on, I don't remember where. I think it was shared on like TikTok or something. And it was a slot. It was toilet. It was like if EA made toilet paper, and it was a toilet paper roll, and it had like a slot machine and on it, and then it had like insert bill next to it because it was.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To unlock it, because like, well, see, which is weird because like EA Sports is really good. Like if you like hockey or baseball or basketball games or whatever, EA's they're really good with that, but anything else is just what the fuck.
Yeah. I hear like I don't know if it's still this way, but I heard that the crunch culture, if you're working at EB Games, like they work you to the bone. It's like very intense.
Yeah, the crunch time and everything. Yeah, when I was at school, and one of the classes we had was just about like presentations. We did an assignment talking about like what's a major like flaw in the area that you're trying to get into. And since my program was like people trying to get into gaming, people trying to get into filmmaking, whatever, like web design, whatever. The people that are trying to get into the gaming, every single person picked crunch time as a flaw, like to try to fix it, because apparently it's a major thing.
Yeah, and I think it's been that way for such a long time, just to like hit those launch dates. But I think I don't know if I mentioned this like on a previous episode, like a long time ago or something, but I think the creator of Mario like has a quote from a long time ago saying like, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is always bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of plays into the philosophy of like just delay the game. Like they'll get a good game, even if it's like 6 months later to a year later, and they'll wait for it. Because like the sequel to like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild got announced, I think like last year or the year before, but they still haven't released much info on it just because like they're still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the original that came out with the Switch was like such a masterpiece. They don't want to follow it up with something that's just like crap. So they're taking their time with it. And in general, I think fans are being pretty understanding about it. So
yeah. Like I'd rather have a game that's actually made and done and dealt with compared to something that's here, spend $80 and you get the first 5 minutes and it's glitchy to shit, like what happened with Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, Cyberpunk, yeah.
Like that was a PS5 launch game, and it just I've obviously never played it, but yeah, it was another one. I've seen, I think even TikTok videos of people like doing that glitching and just making fun of how bad it was.
Yeah, the whole like T-pose to assert your dominance, I'm pretty sure is from this buggy release of that game.
Well,
I don't know
what
if
is
you're familiar with... Oh, you're not? Okay.
No.
Like, there's been like random memes where people just like do a T-pose, so they just like stand straight with their feet together and like their arms to the side, like in the letter T.
Yeah.
And because a lot of the characters in the game like randomly just T-posed, like they would just like glitch out and then just like stand like that all of a sudden.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so people were like memeing it in like so many different situations, and then I thought that was so funny to see because, uh, like I kind of get why it would happen, but it's just funny to see like that it actually happened. Yeah, because like when you're like rigging up the 3D models, they like start in the T-pose position, like so that you can connect everything, right?
Yeah, to
Yeah,
connect
so
your,
like
your joints and everything. Yeah,
yeah, so like someone just like messed something up that kept reverting them to like that unrigged position. Yeah, it was
yeah.
kind of funny.
Okay, yeah, no, I'd never heard of it. But yeah, I could definitely see it. Ugh. So basically, one thing I was gonna say to kind of bring that. So you should know now that you've completed a bit of schooling and stuff. You're trying to get into that. This is something that you need to learn to know in advance to not do.
Yeah, exactly. There's tons of examples on what not to do out there that I'm finding and learning more and more about. Even like as I'm just playing other games, like right now I'm playing one called Octopath Traveler on the Nintendo Switch. Have you heard about that?
Jaden, the old co-host of this show, talked about that he loves that game.
Yeah, like it looks like a really cool game, and then like I'm really enjoying it so far. My other friend told me like it's one of his favorite games, but like as I'm playing it, there's a few things like with the story, kind of with the graphics and with the gameplay that I'm noticing like could be improved. So I'm kind of like taking a lot of notes as I'm playing games after going through this course as to like how I would fix these things and implement it in my game because I'm thinking like the game that I want to work on is going to have like a similar look to that Octopath Traveler game because it seems obtainable for like a small team or if not one person rather than like a full 3D world open world kind of game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Are you planning on being like independent, or do you want to work for what's the company that's
like a
based
company.
out of based out of Montreal? What's the one that does Assassin's Creed?
Ubisoft.
Yeah, because are they Canadian based, or like are they?
I know Montreal has a few different studios. Vancouver also has like a few different like branches of larger studios like Nintendo and EA and whatnot. But also in Edmonton, there's like BioWare right here.
Right. Yeah.
It does like Mass Effect. Yeah, but I think for me, I want to release like I want to indie publish at least one first to like see to get like my hands into every facet of like front to end process, and then like if that seems like something that I could do continuously, I'd probably just keep working indie. But if there's like certain aspects that I find more challenging or certain aspects that I like more than all the rest, then maybe I'll look for a position like in that specific area kind of thing. So yeah, it depends how it goes, but I'm also working full time as a developer, so it's hard to use my developer mind outside of my day job hours where I've been using it for like 8 hours already. Yeah, so it's kind of like a slow process. Yeah.
Well, when you eventually get down to the point of selling something, we'll advertise something on this channel for you.
Oh, it'd be sweet. Awesome. Yeah,
Spread it out a little bit on the little bit of followers that we have. I know the few people that have been listening because I've been jumping on to another podcast called The Loneliest City.
Oh yeah.
And
you had someone from that show on yours like last month or something too, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's Jesse Kim. He's the creator of that podcast, and
oh, cool.
So we would collab a little bit, and I'm sure the few people that are into that stuff would definitely be interested in talking about it a little bit with you.
Yeah,
actually, that's something
awesome.
you probably could do because like we had one episode on his podcast that was really focused on like on me and my like movie knowledge and behind the scenes and interests and stuff like that. So I'm sure they'd be interested in talking to someone like you about like game development and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And like I'm really interested in making like a story that people can really get into because that's like one of my favorite things about RPG games is getting into the story. And like you being with having just like watched so many movies and being interested in so many different series and stuff, you'd probably like be a good person to run my story ideas by at least.
Yeah, I was just gonna say once you have like a script written out. I know a game script is written differently than a film or TV script, but I could Yeah, I'm good at picking up flaws of what makes sense, at least in that realm. So we could definitely help each other out as much as possible.
Yeah, that's kind of been like a point of difficulty for me in writing the script too, is because like how am I supposed to factor in like player decisions into this into the screenplay essentially?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I decided to do is just like, because the whole thing with mine is you can choose like one of 5 starting locations and then choose where you go after.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of like choosing it for me just for the sake of finishing the story.
Yeah.
Like something that I can share with people and get their opinion on before I actually like worry about like writing the different consequences of the choices.
Yeah, exactly. Write the story of at least one of the characters and how you would play it through, or what you think first, and how how the story quote unquote should go, and then maybe say you have 3 different endings per character, for example. Like, that would probably still be difficult, but that would be a way to do it without it being too convoluted.
Yeah.
So
I guess we'll see how it goes. But yeah, once I have something, I would be super into getting your feedback on it.
Awesome. I'm here to help as much as I can. Can't help. That's can't really help in any other way, but that's the way I can help.
Yeah, no, that's a huge part though, because like I said, the story I think is like a really important part of games too. Games are another medium to tell a story.
Mm-hmm. I was talking about this with you last time, but I finally got you know how I said I wanted to turn the My Hero Academia into like a live action. So I finally rewatched the scene and wrote it down into an actual script, like dialogue and everything. So I got that finally done, and I sent it to a couple people that went to the quote unquote went to school with, but they were the year before me. They were interested in trying to help me out, and I have another friend that I went to school with, graduated with. So he's going to try to reach out to a few people I know, and hopefully by mid to like end next month, I'll be able to potentially start filming something. So definitely excited on that. It's still a little worrisome because it's literally an anime. It's super intense. Like choreography, I'm probably gonna have to change it into more of a choreographed fight instead of a like heavy effects scene, because I don't really have anything to do that. But yeah, that's
true.
Because like it's really been interesting for experience of like, because I had the scene open on one tab and my script open on the other, and I just like, okay, especially since what I'm doing is literally just remaking this whole scene. So I'm just writing, okay, what did she say? And how did she say it with intent, the intent or whatever, and I'm changing some dialogue. I'm not exactly copy and pasting, but hopefully I don't get a copyright from Funimation or anything like that.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Like you're doing a remake and you're, I guess you're adding your own changes. So I don't know how that would work. I think as long as you're not using like the same exact same script, exact same music and stuff. I don't know, but I have no idea. That seems like a complex thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I do have someone that is into like sound design and everything, so hopefully he'll be able to help me out with like picking good music that will work with it and everything like that. And what I might do, I'm trying to fight over, because it's a whole thing. You've seen the My Hero. You watched My Hero Academia, right? Yeah. So you know the scene I'm talking about. So it's in a full like stadium. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to do anything like that, but I need to recruit. I'm thinking of either recruiting like 20 people just to be like the audience, quote unquote, and or getting like a subscription to one of the like stock video sites or whatever, and just try to find a crowd cheering clip or something.
Yeah, you might be able to just like I don't know, it might be like an advanced video editing thing. I'm not even how to do it myself, but just like cutting stadium shots out of like actual like sports matches and just like pasting that in your background.
That would I could figure out how to do that. It would be a little more difficult, or I could get Fiverr, I think it's called, where you pay someone to do that type of stuff for you.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
just have like people cheering on like their favorite soccer team while you're doing like a fight
I,
sequence.
yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be fine. People, I think for YouTube wise, I think people will get it, and I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So going into to continue on to what we were talking about before, like what are you said you played like Final Fantasy, but what are some other kind of like nostalgic type of games that you, because we talked about Pokemon Snap last time. Is there any?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
What
Well,
type of games do you like remember playing like as a kid?
I think I did play quite a few of those like kind of the pixelated pixel arts style of games like older Final Fantasies and those kind of things, which is kind of interesting to see that same art style in like a refreshed context in Octopath Traveler. If I could like just mention that again, because you kind of have like, do you remember like it's kind of a weird connection, but do you remember like Paper Mario on like the N64?
Yep.
How there was like you have
GameCube.
like the 2D. Was it? Oh yeah, there's
GameCube.
also GameCube. I think the original like was on the N64 because I never had a GameCube.
Oh, okay.
Thousand Year Door, I think the sequel was on GameCube. Um, but yeah, like the same thing. Like you have like your character is paper, but the environment is kind of 3D. Um, so you kind of have like that mesh of 2D and 3D also in Octopath Traveler, but instead of like the paper kind of visual aesthetic, instead you have like the retro pixel art characters and then like in more of a 3D background.
Oh,
So it's
cool.
kind of a cool like yeah, it's kind of like a cool visual style, which I think why a lot of people, which I think why can't I talk, which I think is why so many people like it, because it kind of harkens back to like those old school RPG days and like captures that same kind of feel, but then it feels not like a cheap port; it's like totally refreshed version. Um, so that's kind of why I'm liking it too, because I used to play a lot of those, namely like Final Fantasy and like older Zelda games, like even like
Oh,
Super Nintendo Zelda era.
oh my God! The one it was like a top down, and it was literally just squares and just walking
Exactly.
in either direction, up, down, left, right, and swing the.
Yeah. So like it's like that kind of art style is very retro, and it's kind of making a comeback lately, with more than just this game. Oddly enough, I feel like because this game, Octopath Traveler, came out in 2018, and it was I think the first of like that style of like the retro character pixel arts, in like more of a 3D environment, unless I just haven't seen any others. But now I feel like there's lots of bigger name titles are getting like that same kind of refresh done. Like I think there's a new Dragon Quest game, like a remake of Dragon Quest 3, which is like from the 80s or 90s, coming back in that same style. Also, I think you mentioned that you played or heard of the Suikoden games, like back on the PS2 a long time ago.
The what game?
Suikoden. It's like Suikodn. Suikoden. Maybe you pronounced
No,
it.
I don't think that was me.
Okay, I've heard somebody talking about it at some point.
Probably
there's,
during
like,
your Twitch stream.
maybe, but yeah, there was like from the same maker of that game, he's kind of like doing his own project now in like that same pixel style and like 3D environment. So I think that's kind of like a emerging trend that we might see more often, like in the future, with like retro graphics in like a refreshed setting that still feels new, but still feels nostalgic. So it's kind of cool. It's going to be interesting to see like what other titles come out in that style.
That well, it also kind of started with like Minecraft because it's that pixel but 3D
Yeah,
idea,
that's
right?
true.
That's the whole
Yeah.
the whole idea of it. But even though that's a game I've never played, I've seen people play it. But see,
Yeah,
that's how I know
such a huge game.
how I'm not a gamer. Like, hence
Well,
why I'm not.
actually, I haven't played Minecraft either, but like I can acknowledge and appreciate like how big of a game it is. It's just like not really my style, but yeah, it's a huge game. Like even Minecraft characters even made it into like Super Smash Bros. So they have like worldwide recognition for sure.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's well, concerning there's people that buy like you can get like the Minecraft like swords and the pickaxe as like just props to like hang on your wall and stuff like that. Like
I see those in like I feel like I've seen those in grocery stores. Like that's how crazy huge it is.
Oh, of course.
You can like pick up some milk and eggs and a Minecraft sword.
Yeah, and that goes back to like what we were saying earlier about like independent game creators, because that's another game that was it's an indie game, and it's the biggest indie game in the world. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Even I don't know. Have you heard of Stardew Valley?
I've again heard of the name, but I don't know anything about it.
It's another like super famous like indie title made by like one guy, and it's similar to like those Super Nintendo graphics of like Zelda, like the top down kind of thing, except it's about like farming and like a life simulator.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, like the one dude made it like over I think 2 or 3 years. I want to say maybe longer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the sales of that one game are like over 30 million now. So it's like such a huge game.
Yeah. So if you can make it like successful enough, and as we what was it discussed on your Twitch stream? What was it, like a couple months ago now or whatever? You just need to make sure to add those anime boobs.
Yeah, exactly. I did think about that for like one of my characters' designs. So gotta have like that slight element of fan service somewhere.
Yeah, just
somewhere in the series.
well, the only I think the only indie game that's known that I think I've ever played was Super Meat Boy.
Oh yeah, that's another
Yeah, I played that because it was, or at least a variant of it, because I played I think like the Flash version or something like that, or a free trial or something. Yeah, I played it like once.
Nice. Yeah, platformer. It's like, I feel like for a time, like you didn't hear of too many like playable good indie games, or like if they were all like kind of just spin-offs of other games, but just way worse. But now there's like so many across all genres that you can really get into that like really have a big fan base too, like Super Meat Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and especially like crap now Undertale, if you've heard of that one. That one was like super popular, and Toby Fox was the guy who made it, and he like wrote the music too.
Mm-hmm.
And like his music and one of his characters made it as like a Mii costume in Super Smash Bros. Too. So it's like the indie developers are getting lots of recognition.
Wasn't Shovel Knight, was that an indie game as well? Or it was just a Steam, like on Steam, or
it was made by a studio, but they're a pretty small studio, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess it depends. Like, if by indie do you mean one person, then no. But if you mean like a studio of like less than, I want to say less than 50 people, then yeah. I'm not sure how big their studio is, but I know that it was for sure a studio.
Yeah, because that's another character that you can get on Smash Bros. Like as an unlockable.
Yeah, as an assist trophy. Yeah, Shovel Knight. That's right.
Yeah, a game I never played, but I know some of these things just from like videos like this, like podcasts or video game history. Because there's a while ago there was a docu-series on Netflix. There was the Toys That Made Us first. It was about like Barbie, Power Ranger, G.I. Joe, like stuff like that, and then they went into another one called like Video Games That Made Us, and it went to like the history of like video games all the way back to like the old school like Pong, and even further like first computers to like Doom to like Halo and then how like Mortal Kombat and arcades, and like went into the history of like games getting into the M rating because of like Mortal Kombat. That game I would kind of like to get back into playing Mortal Kombat. Like I've played the quote unquote original, but like the arcade versions of Mortal Kombat. Those are definitely fun. But if I would like to play, but I don't have anyone to play like against, and playing like those games online gets kind of boring because you just get your ass kicked by people that are pros.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Like the difficulty ramps up so high from just like campaign mode versus competitive scene, because like once you hit the competitive scene, like even online, I think if people aren't going in tournaments, sometimes they just like get super into it, and they learn like all the meta of the game. So like, oh, I can get this punch out in like this many frames, so it's gonna beat this punch kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like crazy how in depth people get into fighting games in particular. Like the fighting games community is, um, I guess that's another thing I didn't really mention, but I've always kind of been thinking about too. Like when you're playing fighting games and like you pull off like a combo or something, it feels like so satisfying when it actually goes through.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like the special move, and that's kind of like something I'm trying to incorporate into my game, even though it's going to be a turn-based RPG, but I want to make like the commands that you input feel like you're putting in like a fighting combo somehow. I'm just like, I haven't fully fleshed it out, but like it's just a concept that I kind of want to try because I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Just to include that like feel of like, yeah, oh my god, I can't, especially old school like PS2 Mortal Kombat were like 15 button combinations sometimes to get like a one hit win.
Yeah. Or like to do like a special move or something. Yeah. Or
fatalities.
Yeah, perfect timing. Yeah, those are always like so satisfying in fighting games. Like, sure you can button mash, but then like when you learn certain things, it just like it feels so much cooler to pull off.
And so like one game that I do play sometimes, other than Call of Duty, is there's Naruto, the Naruto Ninja Storm. It's called. It's I bought all 3 games for like $25 or something like that. And it's a adventure / like story / fighting game, and so you start off. I'm still playing the original like Naruto, and you go through like the village and collect items and stuff like that, and then you do the different missions. But they're fighting. You have to win in certain ways. So like you will have to win by doing ninjutsu or whatever, like a certain combo or whatever. But the fight style, unlike Tekken or Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, where it's like up, down, square, triangle, up, down, left, or whatever. It's this game is mostly just hitting square, 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 triangle. It's basically just one button. It's very little button combination, so it's really annoying because there is no like combos like that. So I'm trying to play it, and I like, other than the fact that you have to like win by those certain little things, you have to just keep on retrying to do that fucking thing, and it just makes it impossible. But it's just that the play style gets annoying because it's not much of a way, but like, and getting like the special move, because you know how in Naruto they each have like their main like shadow clone for Naruto and the Chidori or whatever, Sasuke and stuff like that. So they each have like, you have your combo, and it's like almost like a cut where it's like, and then you still have to hit the certain button so it gets more power. The more of the combos you do, the more power you get. So it's still fun in that way, but it's just annoying to try to get it's hard to do combos with, especially since I play for a while and then I stop, then I come back and I forget how to play, so I get my ass kicked.
Yeah, that's another hard thing. Like when you haven't finished the game in like one series and you take a break and come back, you're like, oh crap, like how do I play this thing? And you're already like so far into it, so you don't really get a good like reintroduction into it. Yeah, it's a tough thing to handle.
Mm-hmm. The couple times that I have done it, because I'm really bad for this, where I'll start a game, I'll get decently far or whatever, and then I'll just not play it at all, and then I'll screw it, let's play this game again. And then so what I did with this, I was like, okay, fine, I'll go back and do one of the very first original missions just so I can remember how to play.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea.
Because this was made like it's basically a PS4 version of a PS2 game, because they were made in like 2000. The first one was made in 2002, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those ones are like always on sale. I see them on like the PS Store, like in that 3-pack bundle.
Yeah, exactly. It was all 3, and it was just because I had the hype of watching Naruto and everything, so I was like, screw it, might as well. And then,
do you think it was worth it?
Yeah, I'll definitely continue still playing it. It's a good thing just to kind of continue. I definitely get mad at it, but just like any game, you always get mad at it.
Yeah, true. Apparently, there's like a genre of games dedicated to just like making you mad. I forget what it's called. Like, now it's gonna bug me too. But there's a specific game genre that's just about like just getting the players frustrated at the game.
Like Dark Souls.
Yeah, like those kind of games.
Yeah.
Like Rage something, I forget. But yeah.
Made just to piss you off. Or what about, I see you've been playing the horror games. Have been How have those type of things been? Oh,
Sorry, I just dropped my water bottle.
Oh.
No big deal.
How have those things been treating you?
I did play a couple horror games like on my stream way back when, because I was doing just like free to play games that were coming out on Steam, and there was like a few free to play horror games. They seem to all kind of be similar in terms as like as far as like the free ones go. Like it's just first person viewpoints where you just kind of like, it's a survival horror, so you can't really like fight the enemy, you just like run and hide from them. But yeah, some are really well done, some are just kind of like, even though they're not putting a lot of effort into like the graphics and the story and things like that, but just how they position things and how they like set up the AI and the angles and the music and like the lighting and stuff, like they can make it work for like a pretty cheap looking game can still scare you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so those have been fun. I haven't played any like recently though, but yeah.
Oh, so those on your TikTok have been from like old uploads?
Yeah, like they're all still this year, but I haven't played any like in the past couple months kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So somewhat recent, but not super recent.
More of a Halloween style or October.
Yeah, well, I think when I first started getting into streaming, I thought like I should just do like a scary game, like a horror game stream, since like those seem to be like the popular things to do. And like they were fun, but man, the first time that I tried it, like playing a horror game, like I felt sick to my stomach like the next day just from like getting jump scared so much. It's like I did not realize like how much of a toll this can take on your body, just like getting scared on stream for like a couple hours. Holy crap. Yeah. But so I stopped after like 2 weeks of that. But yeah, it's fun to look back on, at least. I might try it again just because like I've seen so many different like I guess let's plays and game trailers and stuff now that it might not be as bad if I were to try it again. Yeah,
it's a good way of getting some reactions, because you'll either get people like being scared with you, or you'll get the laugh of like, how the fuck is this scaring this guy, or the like trolls being like, what, it's not that scary, how are you actually screaming, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I felt bad for like, because before I tried any of them, I like got my wife to try like a few different like horror game streams, and like her reactions were like so much bigger than mine and like so much more fun to watch, so I just like kept asking her to do them, and then she just like wanted to take a break, and then that's when I started doing those ones that you've seen on my TikTok, and I'm like, wow, the ones that I've done were not even as scary as the games she's been playing, and like I felt so sick to my stomach, so I can't imagine how she felt.
See, I think that type of thing, like, I don't ever, at least in recent years, I don't get majorly scared at like horror movies, because I don't watch them very much that often anyway, but they're, because of how my mind, I'm more of concerned, like, okay, like how are they filming this, or like what's going on, to get more into like the depth of like how things are going, especially when it's like something that's a demon. I want to see like how something is made or whatever. My brain can't concentrate on the actual like scariness of it. But if I was to play one of like Fear, I know that was a really or a game that people really liked for a horror video. That's the first time I ever heard of a horror video game. So I think I would play that, because you're actually in depth interacting with it, and I know that game came out. It must have came out when I was in high school, because I remember my high school friends playing it, and we played it, and I like watched them play with it, and we all still and we had the lights off when they were playing, and it was literally just had the flashlight and just the jump right there. It was like, oh shit, that's where it kind of gets you.
Yeah, if you want to try one, I'd recommend Outlast, because you can play it on your PC. I think it's also on consoles, if I'm not mistaken. Like there's two of them. The first one came out like quite a while ago, but it's still rated as like one of the scariest games to play, just because like I don't know. That's the one I got my wife to play. I bought it for like $20 on Steam, and even though it's such an old game, it's still so scary. Just because like all you can do is run and hide. Like things come out of you, they're chasing you like all the time. Yeah, it's super scary. Yeah, I definitely recommend doing that one. Looking into that one, especially like if you want to be scared, because there's not a lot that you can really like, I guess, analyze for like the angles and stuff. I guess I'm sure there is if like you really want to find it, but just good old fashioned jump scares. Give it a shot. Yeah.
And that's what I mean with that's why it would be. It's better as a game compared to as movies, for me at least.
Yeah. I'm kind of like you in that sense as well. I used to be like really scared of horror movies, but not so much lately, unless I'm just not really watching any super scary ones. But I'm just thinking more of like the storytelling techniques that are happening now, because I'm trying to focus on like inspiration for the story of my game too. So I'm like, like this scene is pretty much telling us that like we're gonna see this guy later in like in a different light or something.
Yeah.
Or like, that's his daughter all along, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Last week, my roommate and I we watched Final Destination 5, because that's the one that's on Netflix, and I hadn't seen it, and I think it's actually classified as a horror, but I don't see what's horror about it really. But I was only like a little high. I had like just a small hit, so it wasn't even that bad. But my buddy looked over at me because I was bursting out laughing. It was so funny because how the 1 in 100 billion probability that this actually happens is. It was like, okay, like how the fuck is that actually gonna happen? And then like it was so funny just because of the the weird sound effects that happened with it. It was so. Like it was so bad. Like that would never happen. It was just, yeah. So that's another way of looking at like horrors. It's the same idea as like going back and watching like Chucky, for example. Like it would be more. Yeah. It was scary to me as a kid, but I would look at it as like a case study, or as an adult, it wouldn't be like scary.
Yeah, just like the movie It as well. Like after seeing the remake ones, the original one just kind of looks like cheap. Like the design of the clown, and the original one just looks like oh my god, please get this clown out of like our kid's birthday party. He's ruining it.
Yeah. I actually have never seen it, either one.
Oh really? Not even the newer ones or the older ones?
No, I haven't seen any. I probably should. Apparently they're really good. At least the remakes.
Yeah, the remakes are pretty fun to watch. Like there's some scary parts, but also like I feel like they did it really well. Like they make you laugh and they make you like jump scared. And then like there's also kind of like you also feel, I guess, satisfied in like they're not defenseless, like 100% defenseless against like the monster kind of thing. So it's kind of cool to just like see them fight back as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
So I'd recommend those two.
Yeah, that's where like the if we don't believe in it, it can't hurt us like trope comes from. I think.
Is that where it comes from?
I think so. I don't know. Isn't that what the premise of that? Not don't believe it, but like if you again, because I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But isn't it something like if you don't believe in it, or if you like don't let the fear, like let whatever your biggest fear actually scare you or whatever.
Yeah. Because like it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure it was like the monster feeds on like your fear. So if you don't like show it, if you face your fears, it actually gets weaker instead of just like running from them, and then it gets stronger. Yeah,
that's just like in Harry Potter 3, I think. Yeah, because I just rewatched the Harry Potter series just like a week ago. Finished the final one just the other day, and there was the Hogart or something like that. It was called. It was a creature that appears in
your fear.
In your fear, and you have to have like make it look like the same, but like funny or whatever. Yeah, facing your fear. Yeah.
The ridiculous spell.
Ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. And one was Snape dressed in his grandma's clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that was. I don't even like. I just remember those scenes. I think like, I don't know why the third one was probably like I didn't finish the whole Harry Potter series, but maybe only to like the fourth or fifth book, or the fifth or sixth movie. But the third one like stood out the most for me just because of like I feel like it had more of those cool ideas that are like more memorable to me, like the ridiculous spell and like facing your fear kind of thing.
Well, the third one was like a good mix of like still having the fantasy of getting into the school and getting to the wizarding world and like the magic and stuff like that, and starting to introduce the actual evil, like the dark side of it with, like, and then 4 really starts to push the Voldemort story, and then 5 and 6 is where like that's where it really gets into like the hardcore like dark part of the story. But yeah, the 3rd one was the furthest I ever read as a kid. I never, and I think I maybe got halfway through the 4th book, but I never read. I didn't read any of the rest of them.
Yeah, you watched all the movies though.
Yeah, I just recently rewatched them last week.
Nice. Do you also? I watched like the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them too. Mm-hmm. Like there's 2 of those out right now, right?
Yeah.
But then I guess they're not having Johnny Depp come back for the next one, from what I hear.
Johnny Depp. I know. No, you're thinking in Pirates of the Caribbean. Johnny Depp's not in. That's.
No, he's the dude with like the white hair, and he has got like a chubbier face, and he was like disguised as other people in Fantastic Beasts.
Oh right, yes, yeah. Okay, yeah. Right.
He's like the main villain.
Yeah, I saw the first one, right, with Newt, and then I think the reason why I didn't end up seeing the second Fantastic Beast was because it showed a young version of Dumbledore, but he looked way too handsome in the trailer, so I was like, what? This looks dumb. Yeah. Because especially since the original actor who played Dumbledore, obviously before he died, was like more of a like Merlin looking guy compared to the new version of Dumbledore that looked more like Gandalf, like more badass. So I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I should go watch them since I just did the rewatch of Harry Potter. Maybe I'll go and watch the prequels as well.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, they're really good movies too, even like without knowing too much about the Harry Potter world. But I think just coming off a marathon, you'll probably notice a lot more Easter eggs. Yeah,
exactly. Well, speaking about prequels, see, there we go.
Yeah. Okay.
You didn't really watch Supernatural, or did you ever watch that show?
I think my wife watched it. Like, can you give me like the brief synopsis though? Because there's been a few like supernatural shows that I'm thinking of.
Well, it's literally called Supernatural. So it's the Winchester brothers. They are in their like mid 20s, early 30s, and they go fight. The first few seasons, they're literally just fighting like vampires and werewolves and ghosts and that type of stuff. And then by like the 5th season, they start introducing like angels, and demons. And then as they keep on getting further, they go into literally gods and like God himself. And they came up with, because you know how in the Bible it goes, before time the God, like what is the saying? It's like God said, "Let there be light" or whatever, and there was darkness. So they personified that darkness as a God's sister in season like 13 or something like that. So and they die and come back to life, and there's Grim Reapers, and it's them all like trying to fight all these mythical characters.
Oh, that sounds awesome. No, I've never watched it, but I think I want to now.
The first couple seasons, especially the first, I want to say maybe the first 3 are a little cheesy. So if you don't like that type of stuff, it would be hard to get into. But you have to kind of like work through, because it was a lot lower budget. Because they were only projected to have like 3 or 4 seasons maybe when it first started. But then it ended with 15. So it's one of the longest running sci-fi shows of all time. Like.
Wow.
I was like, I think it's because I know Doctor Who's like one of the longest shows ever created, and it's in the that genre. But and then because Star Trek has like Star Trek and Star Trek Next Generation, since they're not technically the same series, they're not as technically as long. But Supernatural is literally the same, with the same cast, the same continue, all the way however many years it is. Yeah, because it's 2005 to 2020, 20, yeah, 20, either end 20, yeah. It was either 2019 or 2020 that it ended. 2020 is such a blur, I don't even remember that all of last year.
I know, right? Like, I feel like we're still in that year, and like summer's just starting now.
Oh my god. Well, with this bloody heat, of course it fucking is.
Yeah.
But at least, well, to go into a little bit of off topic, but at least here in Alberta, I don't know where anywhere else in, I guess, whoever people are listening to, but the mask mandate is finally getting lifted in a couple days. So that's.
Yeah.
Or is that Alberta? Is that Canada? I don't remember.
Alberta, just Alberta, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Because I think Ontario still has it like pretty heavy with their restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know about other parts of the country.
Oh yeah, I don't really pay attention. But well, all I was gonna say is that so yeah, that show. If you knew more about it, I would have gone into more in depth about it. But yeah, they're doing a prequel. But the reason why I kind of wanted to talk about it is because it's kind of weird. Because so the two main characters are lead actors are Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki. Jared Padalecki went on after the show ended. He went on to stage with the CW and went to do Walker. It's called. It's a recreation of Walker Texas Ranger, basically. And then cool. Jensen Ackles is playing Soldier Boy in The Boys. So he's kind of like their version of Captain America, basically.
Right.
So they're obviously committed to doing like their new shows and everything. So it's kind of surprising that a prequel is happening already, because Jensen is narrating the prequel, because it's called The Winchesters, basically, and it goes into like the prequel of how their parents met, basically.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So he's just there as a vocal role, and doesn't have to like actually act.
No.
The scenes.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of, according to what I read, he's narrating it. I don't know whether that's just going to be the first episode or prologue for each episode or what, but apparently he's coming back because it's him and his wife are executive producing it as well.
Wow.
So.
Busy people.
Yeah.
That sounds cool though. That's a cool concept for like a cool show that I had no idea about before this.
I don't know where where could you watch the remake, the reruns of it? It was on CW, so.
Oh, CW.
I think there's a CW app. I don't know what you have to pay for it or whatever, but if you ever want to, I think, or you can. It's probably not that expensive to. I don't think you want to spend the money since you just spent like $800, but it's probably not going to be that expensive to buy it. But it wouldn't be. Yeah, to a show that you've never watch a few of the iconic scenes on like YouTube or something like that, and before you try investing any money into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do have to kind of like that. It has like I've noticed, at least on my TikTok, I have a lot of supernatural stuff because I'll watch videos of people posting clips from like the cons that they're at and everything, and Jared and Jensen are actually decent friends in real life, and I think. That is where, if I remember correctly, that's where Jared Padalecki met his wife. I think either that or they were already married, and then because he kills her in the show, I think a couple times, and so
wow.
apparently he talks about on how she brings it up still in real life.
You killed me.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good way to settle arguments. Just write their death in the screenplay you're part of.
Yeah, exactly. How do you know that you're not working anymore? Your character's dead.
Yeah, right.
And, well, except for in this show, because they each came back. They died and came back to life multiple times. So spoilers for you since you haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's okay. Like even are you familiar with Brandon Sanders, like the author of like Mistborn and like quite a few other like fantasy genre novels?
No.
He's like a somewhat well-known like fantasy writer, and he's been like posting a lot of his like free fantasy writing lectures from the university he gives lectures at, like on his YouTube channel.
Oh.
So I kind of like came across those for just like some cool fantasy writing tips for like my own game. And he's even like he's even critiqued like those kind of plot twists like you just mentioned of like characters coming back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Even in like non-fantasy shows, like it's just as easy to like I guess just like make it up as you go.
Mhm.
Like even in the romance, you can be like, oh, he got over himself, and now everyone was happily ever after. Yeah.
Yeah, like what you'll see in some movie, like sometimes you'll see a movie sequel where like the first one, they get together, they get married or whatever, and then the second one they're just not together because the one of them, like whoever the main character, the secondary character is, they're like they don't sign on for the second movie, so they're like, oh,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
like broke up.
Yeah, and that just made me think of like someone dying and coming back to life. Like, have you seen Jane the Virgin on Netflix? I heard about it.
My ex used to watch it. I never. I watched a couple episodes with her when I was with her.
But yeah, it's obviously not like an action like fantasy show, right? But people die and come back to life in this like drama series too.
Hmm.
But somehow they just like make it work with the writing. That's kind of funny.
That's funny. That's so weird how there's like how tropes can cross over into different styles of shows.
Yeah, and it's like you don't need magic to make like quote unquote magic happen in the show.
Hmm.
Just whatever writing, however you want to write it.
Well, yeah,
It's kind of cool.
whatever works. Well, yeah. Oh, so yeah, I should check out that YouTube channel because when I was first going to Nate and probably a couple of years prior, I had like a fantasy idea that I wrote just for my very first like writing class for that school for that program.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That it was inspired by actually Full Metal Alchemist.
Nice.
There's it's been years since I've read the books or watched the anime, but the main one of the characters, he has like the flame click glove
Roy
thing.
Mustang.
Yeah, thank you. I was inspired by that ability type thing, and I kind of have changed it a few times and to make different ideas and stuff. And I wrote a version of it for my class, and it was
Cool.
but I don't think I can still have it anymore. But it's super cheesy, so I should probably check that out just see so I can get re-inspired and potentially rewrite it into something.
Do you remember like how you changed the ability? Or is that a secret?
Basically, it was originally like a glove. So each character, so there was a power glove, and so it was a light. So like heavenly powers, healing, and light abilities, whatever. And the darks, like fire and smoke or whatever. So these were like opposite abilities from. And then one main character, he's like the chosen one or whatever, can wield both basically. But I turned it into. Because when I was writing, it was around the time that Avengers Infinity War was either out or coming out, something like that. So it reminded me too much of the gauntlet from that. So I was like, let's turn it into a sword, and then it can kind of be like Excalibur based. Yeah, so that's the general outline without going into too much detail. It's very like teenage nerdy like concept. So that's probably the reason why I haven't really continued it because. Yeah, but maybe I should actually check that out. Maybe it'll get me re-inspired to get into that again.
Yeah, maybe you could write some screenplays for that.
Yeah.
After My Hero Academia.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, now that I did it, it only took me. Well, I did only write. It was only like 5 pages, so it didn't take that long. But actually, when I did it, I was like, oh, this is actually not bad. I'm getting into the flow of writing and stuff. I've never been much of a writer, but I kind of enjoyed that afternoon of just sitting with my laptop and chilling. So,
Nice.
but yeah, unless you have anything else you wanted to kind of bring up, I think that's where we'll wrap it for now. Then.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, already then. So, yeah, this was fun. It kind of entailed. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Ratchet and Clank trailer specifically because I thought it was interesting because it was a game that looked fun, but. Either way,
crap.
But it did it rabbit trailed, but it's still in the same like genre of what we were talking about, so it's not even that bad. And then I did find a way to kind of tie in the other topic that I wanted to talk about a little bit, even though you never really watched the show. But hey, I got you to get intrigued by a new show potentially, and that's something other than a Korean drama to watch with your wife.
Yeah.
Or is it Korean? Yeah, I think it's Korean, right? Yeah. So maybe you'll find something new to watch. But for those listening, let's see. Leave a comment of something of a story idea that you think that would be interesting to potentially write. Some of the things that you like, or or leave a comment of something that for a nostalgic video game that you like to play as either as a kid or now that gives kind of like that yes feels of like the same type of feels of like getting a combo in a fighting game. Let us know in the comments below some of those things. So this is the M3 podcast. If you like video games, movies, games, TV shows, that type of stuff, make sure to subscribe here on YouTube or on any of the other listening platforms. But that's where we'll end it this week, and thanks to you guys for listening.
See ya.